Good morning, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Having to change all the mic setup today, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, guys. I hope you're having a really, really, really good Wednesday, or Tuesday, or whatever day it is, wherever you are. I don't usually stream this time of day, so it's kind of unusual for me, but I'm here in the workshop again. Yeah, 3D printers, as you can see, just down, where are they? Just down here. They're not working because I go on vacation today. So at 12 noon today, in about 2.5 hours time, I'm off on vacation, taking my wife away for her wedding anniversary. So yeah, it's, our wedding anniversary was actually back in May and I forgot. Yeah, I did that, I forgot. So we're going away today for a few days to make up for it. Let's see who got first. Arcana got first, said good morning everyone. Humza's here as well, Vox as well. Laser cutting streams are the best. They're good fun, right? I enjoy using the machine. And the good news is I've actually just purchased a brand new machine yesterday. So soon we will have a bigger, better, faster laser, which will be even more fun. I actually was playing around with it yesterday. I made a load of business cards. I'm not sure what I've done with them. I don't know where I've put them, but I did make a load of new business cards. Let me find them. Okay, I've got them. They're here. So instead of putting the standard white ones into packages, I figured I'd make my own, and I made these on the laser cutter. How cool are these? All laser cutter, laser engraved, text on the rear. It's pretty cool, right? So I just made a bunch of these yesterday, and they're going to start going into packages in the next few weeks. I'll start to make them in bulk when I get back on Monday, and we'll go from there. So yeah, the good news as well is that all of the waste cardboard that we have, and I have a lot, goes into making these as well. So this paper that I use for this cardstock, this actually comes from a company who recycles all of my cardboard already. So everything, every bit of waste that I have, we've now got a contract in place that's going to turn it into this particular paper, and they're going to send it to me, and then I can etch it and make my business cards out of it. So I have zero wastage at this point. It's really good. It's really good. Let's see who else is here. We've got Josh here as well, and Golden Ratio. Rexthon's here too, Unusual, Ferry Nyan, Storesness, Kips, Charlie. Some interesting background footage while I work today. Yeah, the blue truck's almost on the road as well, so that just needs one thing, which is a test. So it's going to go in for that test when I'm back from vacation next week. The green truck is actually outside and it's just waiting its license plates. I'm just literally waiting for the license plates to turn up, and then that one's going to be on the road. I might put up the gate later on, like the door later on, and you'll be able to see. Thought you were on holiday. I am. I leave at 12 o'clock today, 12 noon. So in about 2.5 hours, I'm going to be leaving, going on holiday. I'm taking the wife up to Durham, a little place called Ramside Spa. And we're going to spend 3 days there. And we're just going to have pampered, we're going to have massages, we're going to have mud baths, whatever it is that's going to make her feel good, that's what we're going to do. So we leave at 12 o'clock today. And I need to make a sign. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a sign for the workshop office. So if you guys remember from my other streams, you'll see that I've put a whole new background up there. There's all new wooden walls and everything else. It looks a bit bare. I have that wonderful poster that Crash and my keyboard made, and that's on one side, but I want a new company sign to replace the old one on the other side of the wall. So that's what we're going to make on stream today. I'm going to show you how I'm going to create it in Fusion 360 in CAD, and then we're going to import that into the laser cutter, and I'm going to show you how we make it on the laser cutter as well. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it won't take too long to do. In terms of material, I'm actually using acrylic for this, so I'll show you guys what I'm using. I've got so many big sheets of acrylic here, it's unbelievable. Let me see if I can grab one. There we go. So we're going to be using this acrylic. It's green glass like acrylic, and it's frosted, but it comes out really, really nicely. So this is the same acrylic that I make keyboard stands out of, and it comes out just like that. That's the laser etching on the edge. The PT logo just here, that's laser etched in. And as you can see, it looks like glass. So it's going to look really good. So a big piece of that as a sign. That's what this is going to become. And chat's gone quiet. No one's talking to me anymore. Are we still live? Looks good to you. Fair enough. I'm not used to streaming at this time in the morning. It's really early for me to stream. I can't remember the last time I streamed before like 7 p.m. at night, and it's like 9:42 in the morning, so it's unusual. Right, let's flip over to the cameras. So this is the laser cutter bed, and when we're actually laser cutting, you'll be able to see live what's happening down here as well. So this will show you live what's happening with the laser. But the first thing to do is to create the sign. So let's get up. Where is it gone? Where's it gone? Light burn. No. Fusion. There it is. Aussie Venom, thank you so much for following. So we're gonna etch this in Fusion first. Let's just catch up with the chat. What's in the top left? Oh, it was a laser cutter, and now I'm in the top left. That's the actual bed of the laser cutter. Yeah. How deep can the laser etch? Can you set different depths for it? So all I'm doing is I'm just taking off the top layer of the surface and making it a nice smooth finish. So these are almost flush, like you can barely feel them. They're maybe 2,000 deep. They're not deep at all. Like, I can cut as deep as I'd like, but when you're etching, you just want a nice finish on it. And to do that, you need to use cast acrylic. So you can get different types of acrylic. There's different grades, like there is for everything. The standard acrylic is really crap. It's called extruded acrylic. That's not good. You can't laser etch into it. It doesn't work very well. But if you get cast acrylic, it comes out like glass. It looks amazing. So that's what you want to look for. I was not expecting this early stream. I did talk about it last week, I think, but it's just a random thing that I wanted to do. I was going to make the sign this morning anyway, so I might as well share it with you guys. In terms of what we can actually do with the laser, this one, not much, because it's not the best. You can see the machine just here, it's this red and black one. I can cut through anything up to like 10 mil thick, like plastics wise, not metals, but plastics. But it's not the best machine for what I want to use with it for, so that's why I bought a new one. So the new one comes in a few weeks' time, which is going to be good. How did Midnight Rainbow turn out to you? I was really happy with it. Do you guys want to see GMK Midnight Rainbow? I can show you that. Let's go back over to the camera. Let me go grab my JO2 with Midnight Rainbow on. This is my JO2 with GMK Midnight Rainbow on. How cool is that? How awesome does that look? I'm super, super, super stoked with how it came out. Like, super happy with it. This is my personal JO2. And I'm just really, really stoked with how well that came out. Like, super stoked. Redeemed stretch. There you go. Those colours came out great. Looks sleek yet vibrant. Yeah, it's just super cool. Like, I just love it. Like, yeah, it's really nice. It's not left my desk since I got it in 2 days ago. So I think the EU vendor is now shipping out orders, and all of the Australian orders have shipped out. All of the UK orders have shipped out. Novel Keys hasn't quite got it yet, but it won't be too long until everyone has it. Blue Toggle, thank you so much for the follow, and Golden Ratio, thank you for the sub as well. 2 months in advance, thank you very much. I need that set. Yeah, extras soon, a couple of weeks, I think, towards the end of this month. No specific dates yet, but thank you very much for that sub as well, man. I really appreciate it. So if you wanted to cut a 5mm channel in a 10mm thick piece, is that possible? I only ask because I've got a work CNC machine I'm waiting to set up and was on the bench between that and a laser cutter. So no, you can't do that. So I have similar to a work CNC, but I have the same sort of thing. You can cut channels with that, but you don't really want to cut channels in acrylic because it doesn't come out particularly well. A laser cutter does just that. It like cuts through. Like if you wanted to etch halfway through, you probably could do it in, say, plywood. Plastics, they're just going to melt with a laser. You'd be better off milling them, taking it slow and having slow feeds through. But I don't think plastic's the best material for it. And a laser cutter is very different as well. Like etchings and stuff that come out like glass are great. And you can get, as I say, like glass-like edge finishes, which you won't get on a CNC. So you won't get that kind of result on a CNC where it looks like glass. I've got a better example of that here. So this is a 10mm thick piece of acrylic. And it just literally looks like it's made out of glass. Like you can't get that edge on a CNC, but you can cut depth. So it really depends on what you want to do. There's no one machine that's going to do everything, and it really depends on what your particular use case is. Have you had any news on the GMK Relegend group? Yeah, it's going to happen soon. It's for sign making. Yeah, I make signs all the time for myself. I don't do it as a business, but you need a mixture, right? So what I would recommend, Kips, is that you have both, because then what you can do is you can cut out. Say you're making a sign and you're going to want embossed letters. So you want a black sign with blue letters, right? You could cut the letters out of blue, and you can have them 5mm thick. What you can then do is you can actually take the baseboard, the actual back side of the board, over to the CNC, and you can mill out the letters to the same size, and then when you sit the laser cut letters in, they're going to have this lovely edge, but you could mill it maybe 3mm deep, so you've got nice 2mm standing proud. But you need both machines to be able to do that. You can't do it with just one. I think if you're going to do sign making, you need quite a few different machines, in my experience. So yeah, I would look at different things like that. And then you can, the cool thing about bonding it as well is with acrylic, you can just heat it from the back and it'll stick. Like if you just heat it enough to melt that back layer, it'll stick, and you don't actually need to use any adhesives or anything else, which is really cool. Yeah, sign making, 20 grand, that'll get you all the information you need. For the Relegendable group buy, I'll be the UK vendor, yeah. Yeah, I'm working with Steph at Switch Keys at the minute to sort that out. It's going to happen. Right, okay, let's flick back over to the build stream cam. Let me jump into Fusion, guys, and what we're going to do is we're going to design the sign in Fusion in terms of the shape of it. So what we're going to cut out of this piece of material, we're going to design in Fusion, and then we're going to do all of the etching in Lightburn, which is the software that manages the laser. So I'm just going to grab a tape measure, and we're just going to measure this piece of material and see how big it is. And we're going to make the sign as close to the size of the material as we can. So what have we got? 680 by 50. So 680 by 500 is the size of the workpiece. So if we do this 600 by 400, that's going to be nice. So let's load that up and let's see what that looks like. So we're going to jump into Fusion now. You can see Fusion, and this is just a new file. We're not going to save this or anything because we don't need it for anything else. We're going to create a sketch. We're going to make sure we've got on the top face. So in the top right, you want to make sure it's on the top face, and we're just going to set that down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a new box, and we want that to be, what do we say, 600 along the length by 400 high, and that's going to give us a nice rectangle. That's 600mm by 400mm. It's going to give us a nicely chunky sized rectangle. But that's not what we really want. We don't really want a rectangle, do we? No. What we actually want is something with some nice rounded corners. So let's look at doing some rounded corners. So we can use our fillet tool, and we can select the two edges that we want to meet, and we can select a radius. 100mm looks a bit too big. Let's try 20 and see how that looks. That's going to be nice and rounded, maybe a little bit too much rounded. So let's change that down to 15. And that looks pretty solid. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set all of our corner radiuses to 15 mil. So we can do 15 there. And then before we hit enter this time, we can actually select there and there, and there and there, and it will do the whole thing for us. We'll just hit enter once. So now we've got a really, really, really nice shape. Looks pretty good. Nice solid shape. There's going to be a sign. So what do we need to do? We need to fasten it to a wall. So now we need to put some holes in the corners. Dead simple, not too difficult to do. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to just do this in a slightly different way to what you might expect. We're going to draw some straight lines. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw some straight lines from the end of our straight line on here before we hit the curve. And we're going to drop that down. And then we're going to do the same across here. Now we can see that this is going to hit where the constraints are, so this is nice and easy. We're going to do the same here. Now you can see those round circles that we're cutting through. Those are constraints for the actual radiuses of the corners. So that's where the center of the radius of the corner is now. It just so happens to be that we're actually going to do this in the same place, but this is how you'd find out where you want those places to be. So now we've put those lines in, we can see that this point where they cross, that's where we want the radius of the circle to be. That's where we want the circle to start, that's the center of it, and we want it to go outwards from there. So we're going to take the circle tool, we're going to drop that in, and we're going to make these big enough for a 3M screw. So I'm going to use 3M screws to fasten this to the wall. So we're going to make this 3.1mm wide. We hit enter, and then we're just going to do that in the other 3 corners. Now you could copy and paste these if you wanted to. It's 31. Wait, what's going on here? There we go. If my file will do as it's told, then we're going to come down here, we're going to do the same, and we're going to make that 3.1 millimeters. Then we're going to come over here, we're going to do the exact same as well. Now you've got to remember that an M3 screw is 3 millimeters in diameter on the thread, and that's not on the head, so the head will sit on top of these and it'll be nice. Now what we will do is, once we've made the sign and before I fit it onto the wall, I'll actually countersink these so that they'll be nice, and have a little, like a little countersink tool that's available on the drill bit that makes it nice and easy. Now that's not something you can always do with a laser cutter because you can't get the laser to go at an angle, but you could do it with the CNC like Kip's was talking about. You could absolutely use a countersinking tool on a CNC machine and add that in. Now we found where our circles need to be, we can actually go back and delete the lines because we know we've got them in the correct places. And there we go. That is going to be our sign. Now, one of the cool things that I do want to do with this sign later on is I actually want to make it... Oh, God, of delivery. Hi, you're right. Thank you very much.
Just take your name.
Flynn, F-L-Y Flynn. Thank you.
Sorry, take your first name.
Jay. Thanks. Apologies for that, guys, just the delivery. What I actually want to do is I actually want to edge light this from the bottom. So I have some LED strips that I'm going to make an adapter plate for this sign later on. And we're going to have the LEDs pointing upwards, so it's actually going to highlight it from behind. So this is going to look something similar to this. Let me show you guys what this is going to look like. So if I flick back to this camera, so you can see if I hold this up to me, you can see that it's got the designs and the logos on, but if I hold it up to the light, can you see how it changes? You see how that changes what it looks like? So we're going to be able to do that, but with clear light later on. That's what we're going to be able to do. Oh, I'm not sure why the Nightbot's telling what the build is, because it's not doing that. Let me turn that off. Let me change that custom. Okay, let's fix this. There we go, that's that fixed. Okay, so yes, that's what we're going to do, that's what we're going to create. We've now got what we can justify as the basis of our sign, and that's what we're going to cut out from the material. So the first thing to do is actually to export this as a DXF file. So we're just going to right click on the file and export that as a DXF. We're going to save that to our desktop, and we're going to call it sign1. Now, as I say, I am going to make an adapter plate for this at some point in the future. But we're not going to do that today. But what this has done is this has basically given us the outline of the sign, some nicely rounded corners and some screw points to hold it all together. Okay, so now we don't need Fusion anymore. Let's flip back over to here. We don't need Fusion anymore because we've got all of this, so we can close that down. What we do need though now is we need Lightburn, which is a software that controls the laser. So this is very, very similar, but what we're going to do is we're actually just going to drop that file in there and see how it comes out. So all I need to do is just browse to the file that I've got and drag and drop it into the Lightburn software. Okay, and we can see instantly that that's over the edges of where it needs to be. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move that down until it's in the working area, which that should be just good to go there. Maybe just down a touch more. There we go. We then need to tell it what we're going to do with this. So we want these to all be cut lines. So all of the holes that we put on this, the corners and everything else, these all need to be cut. So we're just going to select the color at the top that tells us that this is a cut, and that's going to be set for a cut line. Let me just check what that one was. 3mm acrylic cut. So there you go. You can see that the lines have now gone pink, and that means that that's going to be a cut. But what we actually want to do is put the logo on there and etch that in. So how do we find out where the center of the sign is for the logo? Quite simply, we're just going to draw some lines. And we're going to draw some lines directly from these circles to each other, and this is going to give us the center of the sign. And this is how you do it manually. This is how you do it if you were actually plotting out how to do it on an actual sign. I'll show you the digital equivalent of doing this in a second. Okay. So that would give us the center of the sign, which is perfect, dead simple. Now, there's another way of doing this, which means we can actually undo those, and I can show you how to do it. Now, what we'd normally do is just drop the logo in on top of that, and then set it as an etch layer, and we could line it up to the center of that cross. And if you're doing that on a physical workpiece, that would be absolutely ideal. Draw some diagonal lines, find the center, and go from there. But because we're in software, we can actually do this a much cleaner and easier way. But that's the way you do it manually. So you can actually delete that line, if I can select it. Oops. And we can delete that line as well. What we can actually do is we can just drop it in, drop the logo in, and we can just align it to the center of these two parts, which is dead simple. But first of all, what we need to do is we need to make sure that these parts are all grouped together. So we don't want to lose the little circles. We're just going to go to arrange and group. So that's now one group. Whatever I do to that whole part, wherever I select it, it's going to move all 4 of those corner dots as well for the circles for the screws. Makes it nice and simple. Next thing to do is to drop in our logo. So I'm just going to find that from my files. And you ideally want these as an SVG. I'm going to drag and drop that in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set that to an etch layer. So that's going to go bright blue, and then we're going to make it bigger because we want this not too big, but we want it fairly large on this. So we want it to be fairly big. So if that's the sign, I think that's a good size text. Now what we can do is we can select the logo, and we can select our grouped outside part. And what we can do is we can use a tool to align this in the center and align it in the center vertically as well. So that aligns the logo dead in the center on the horizontal and the vertical planes. So that logo is now dead centered inside our sign that we're going to make. But that's not quite where I want it. I don't want it in the center, because one of the things that we're going to do is create the light bar that's going to go underneath this. Now that's going to be hidden by some black acrylic in the same size and the same thickness material, but we're not going to do that today. So when I put the black across the bottom to hide the LEDs, it's going to cover up the bottom of the sign by a fraction. So we're actually going to make the sign slightly longer in the end from top to bottom. So what we want to do is we want to push the logo up so that the logo sits nicely within the glass green area, if I can get my words out, rather than being in the center of the actual full height of the part itself, taking into account the black acrylic that's going to be underneath it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it, and we're just going to move it up slightly. We know it's dead centered, so we're just going to move it up just a tiny bit, so it's just upset. And then when we put that piece in across the bottom to hide the LEDs, it's going to look like it's centered in the glass green area. Nice and simple. That looks pretty good. That's going to look okay. We should be able to preview what this is going to look like as well. And there you go. That's what it's going to do. That's how it's going to etch it all. That's how it's going to look out. It should be able to do it all nicely. And we can even put this on and show you guys how it's going to do it. So the minute we can see, it's actually cutting out around the back first. And we definitely don't want to do that. We want to do the etches first, so we need to change the order of that. So this is a good little tool to test and see what it's going to do. And we definitely don't want to do the cutting first. We definitely want to do the etching first. So now you can see this is the path that the laser is going to take to do all of the etching, and it's going to build up the sign over that, just like so. But what we want to do is we want to invert that. So we're going to do that just now. So on the right hand side, you can see that we've got the 2 different operations that we've got, and we're going to move the blue operation above the pink operation. And that's going to make sure that we do the etching first. I'm going to send that over to the machine. And then that's all we need in here in Lightburn. Did that actually send over? Yeah, it did. Okay, great. Cool, and that's all we need. Let me just hide this. I'll put the material in the laser and then I will come back and answer your questions, guys. I am going to take off the top layer of the acrylic here because the plastic layer, we don't want this on, because when we etch it, we want to etch into the glass surface, not into the plastic wrap that's on there. So we definitely want to make sure we take this off. You don't always want to do this. If you're just doing cuts, I would leave it on, but because we're etching, the last thing we want to do is melt this into the acrylic. Right, let's catch up with chat and then we'll actually start to make the sign. Don't you want to center it on the baseline of the large text? No. Will the black part not mess with the round bottom corners? No. You're not seeing anything? Oh, it might have been because I was just dropping the parts in. Any updates on the Argyle 60%? Soon, very soon. We're waiting for final quotes on that. No, so the black part, what the black part's going to do, and I have the material for it here, is the black part's basically going to have a part in there, and it's going to have a curved part that's going to sit just up against the edge of the base of the green glass version, and then it's going to have a part that goes over the top of it and a part that goes behind it underneath. It's actually going to be 3 layers thick at that point. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a spacer for the sign on the top part that's going to be 2 layers thick, just where the holes are. So we're going to create spacers to stand it off the wall. So it's all off the wall at the same depth, and just the bottom part of the sign will be 5 mil thicker than the rest of the sign. It's just a design decision, but it's the reason I can do that is that I can hide the LEDs completely and compress between 2 opaque black layers of acrylic. But we'll do that on another stream, because I'm going to do it today. Super strange watching someone make something in CAD software. It's so different from how we model in 3D for film, TV and games. So I'm just modeling in 2D there, so that is Fusion, but I'm just modeling in 2D, because you have to think of a laser cutter as a flat 2D existence. It doesn't really do 3D parts. So it's one of those things, you can't really do 3D with it. So you have to think in 2D operations. But what we're going to do now is we're going to set the machine up ready for the material. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some little spacers that we've made, and these are going to basically just raise the material off this honeycomb bed. And the reason we do that is because we don't want laser flashback. So what the lasers will quite often do is if it hits the honeycomb at the right angle, it'll flash back and bounce upwards, and that can leave some really bad scarring on the edges of the workpiece. We want to avoid that, so we're going to use these standoffs. So I'm just going to basically put them in. These are all basically 10 mil thick standoffs. I actually use these on a piece of 10 mil acrylic when I used to make lube stations. And these are basically just the switch cutouts that we had. So what we're going to do is just pop a few of these in place. This is just going to lift everything up so we get nice clean cuts when it comes through. Okay, next job is to put the piece of material in. I'm going to put it in the side up that we've just taken the clear cover off of. I'm just going to lay that nice and flat, and we know that that's going to stay nice and flat because it's held up by the support pieces that you can see just around here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to lower the bed down because we know that it's going to be too close. And then we're going to move the laser head roughly to the center of where the sign's going to be. And what we're going to do now is going to use my focus tool. Now I know that if this hooks onto the edge of the laser, this part needs to be touching the material. So if we stand that on here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you guys can see that. So if we stand that on the material, what we do now is we just raise and lower the bed, and so we know that the laser is going to be in focus. Which is just there. So now we know that the bed is at the right height, the laser is going to be focused. We can then set the laser up for the workpiece. It's got the file over here. We're going to frame it, see where it's going to sit, make sure it's all going to fit on our piece of material. adjust that just to make sure it does. Just like so. And then we're going to hit start. And you guys will see it's going to start to etch in the logo. Yeah, they're just acrylic. So one of the things I used to make quite often was lube stations. And when I make lube stations, like this one, you'll see it's got switch cutouts in it. These switch cutouts are basically waste material on these parts. So those are what I use as standoffs. I just saved all of them and used them as standoffs. But yeah, they're just cast acrylic. So you can see already, we can start to see the word keyboard just coming through. Let me try and zoom in on that for you a little bit. And you can see it's already etching in really, really nicely. I've just realized the Vestacam keeps going as well. I don't have the Vestacam turned on. Oh, there you go. Clicker Clacker, thank you very much for the follow, man. Thank you, appreciate that. So now it's doing the rest of the prototypist logo. And this is the bits that's going to take a little bit of time. I'll zoom out. But if you guys have got any questions on how we do this and how we set the laser up and how we got it to this stage, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer away. Faster than you was expecting. Lots of trial and error. So I've probably got about 400 hours into this machine just in setup alone, and probably about 1,000 hours of actually cutting stuff. So I'm kind of used to it. How big is my bed? It's a king size, big enough for me, the wife, and the dog. I know you meant the I know you meant the laser bed. So this one's only this one will do 700 by 500 ish, but the new one that we've got coming in will do 1100 by 700. So it's much bigger as the new laser when that arrives. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. That was too easy. It was too easy. But yeah, I'm more than happy to make things for people. If people reach out and they want something making, then we can do it. Just bear in mind that my stuff that I'm making has to come first, and it might take me a little while to do it. Like, I'm not doing this professionally. I do this for a hobby for people. And the business needs laser for actual business use as well. So that takes priority. I don't stock acrylic apart from what I'm using. This particular one is Perspex branded, but I don't always use Perspex branded. I always use cast acrylic though, because cast acrylic is really what you want to be laser cutting and etching onto. If you use extruded acrylic, it's not so good. Usually if someone wants something bespoke making, then I will usually give them the link to my supplier where I order plastics from, and I will tell them to just order the plastic that they want to me in the size that they want and the thickness and quantity that they want, and then they'll send me the files across and I will make it as well. Is it the same quality in general if cast? Generally speaking, yes. You can get some really, really poor cast acrylic where it varies in thickness. So you get 10 mil and you measure it at one side and it'll be 10.2, and you measure it at the other side and it'll be 9.8. But the way that cast acrylic actually comes out as a part is much nicer, and that tolerance across the parts that we use is kind of okay. Like half a mil is, it's neither here nor there in thickness for the use cases that we have. So I would always recommend cast acrylic, especially if you want something that's going to look nice in the end. So here's an example. Let's flip back over cameras. So here's an example. So this is what etching looks like on extruded acrylic. It's there, but it's not so great, right? And this is what etching looks like on cast acrylic. It just looks so much nicer. The edges as well, you get these lovely glass smooth edges on cast acrylic. And you don't, it's hard to show you this because it's opaque, but you don't really get that on this. It's kind of not as nice on extruded acrylic. So I tend to recommend people just stick to cast acrylic for laser cutting stuff. It's usually a much better experience. I want to run an acrylic board eventually, so looking for menus all over the place. Yeah, the entire product just looks like clean. Exactly, it just looks cleaner. Like I could do you, I don't know. Like I'm toying with the idea of doing in stock cast acrylic cut keyboards, just standard 60%, things like that, TKLs maybe. Once the new machine comes in, because that's a productionized version, this is a hobbyist machine really, it's not designed for production output, but the new machine that I've just ordered, that is designed for production output, and I could probably churn out 100 boards a day, something like that. But I can't use it for that every day because I have other things to make as well. But the plan as well is to open up plate design, so I cut a lot of POM on this machine. I actually use POM for a lot of the jig work that I need, so if I'm creating jigs for things, I'll use POM sheets for that as well, because it cuts easier and cleaner. So yeah, if people have things that they want me to make, I will happily make them for you. It just might take me a little bit of time to get it done. King of Nerds, thank you very much. Custom Sound Alerts, thank you very much for the follows. Really appreciate that, guys. Yeah, I'm more than happy to have a look at it for you, FE39, if you want me to do so. The cost for my time is really just the cost of the electricity for the laser and a little bit for my day rate. It's not much because the laser just does its own thing once I set it going. The real cost is going to be in the material if you do anything through me. Let's take a look at the other camera and see how the laser's getting on. There you go, you can see it's actually well into the etching process for the logo now. This is nice. Thanks, man. Just a nice chill stream. Just making a sign for the office wall. How much does a sheet of acrylic run for in general? Depends on the color and the size. These sheets are about 30 quid each, 30 British pounds each, including VAT. And they're 680 by 500, I think we measured it out at. They're about 30 quid each. But it really depends on the color. Like if you get some other colors, it can be a little bit more expensive. I've heard that you can see the resolution and imperfections of the laser in etching. Is that true? It can be, yes. So, I mean, like I can't really zoom in with the camera I've got here any more than this, but it depends on how well your laser's set up. Like the resolution that you do the laser at, it doesn't work like a standard printer. You can do it in dots per inch if you want, but it's better to work in hertz. So this took a long time to get set up to be able to do this at this level of quality, but it comes out really crisp and clean. Like you can see it if you really look up close. I don't know if I'll be able to show this on camera. Like you can just see it if you look up close, but from 3-4 inches away, you can't really see it. Like the camera can't even focus at the point where it becomes unclear. But like from arm's length, anywhere like that, it's fine. And for the cuts, you're not going to see anything. For the cuts, you're not going to see anything at all. This is the bit that takes the time, because it's just going backwards and forwards to try and load it all up. So relaxing watching the laser go back and forth. The best part isn't the lasers, watching the laser, it's the smell. Like if you've ever walked past a nail salon where people are having the nails done, that smell is what you get off of cast acrylic when it's cutting and etching. If you want an example of the level of detail I can do with the laser, I can show you this. If it focuses. There you go. That's the kind of level of detail we can get to, which comes out pretty clean. And it looks pretty good, no matter where you look at it from. Let me see if I can find a bit of board to put behind it so you can see it clearer. Whoops, there we go. Legal highs. Destiny, it is Destiny, yeah. It's something I'm working on with a friend. Stacked acrylic art, yes, you can do that, yes. If you're going to do that, you need to make sure that the etching goes on the back surface and that you're not using frosted acrylic. So if you look at this from the rear, look at this from the back, you can still see it. That's the better way to stack it up, because otherwise, if you do it on the tops of each layer, then the final top layer is just going to look too much, if that makes sense. It's going to be too noticeably different because that's the layer you're looking directly at the etch. So you always need to make sure you do it on the rear of it if you're going to do multiple layers of artwork. The purple is really nice. This is some of the nicest acrylic I've ever had. This is This is really, really, really nice acrylic. I made loop stations out of this for a long time. I actually have a load more of this coming in because I want to make more loop stations in it. But yeah, it's just super cool. Super cool. Yeah, so because the opacity is reduced, because you're not seeing as much of the etching, but if you look at the difference between that and that, like it's huge, like it's absolutely massive. So you want to make sure that the etching is always on the rear side of material if you're using multiple layers. Purple almost looks more reminiscent of PC. Yeah, atomic purple. It's incredibly expensive a sheet, but it's super nice material. It's super nice material. Yeah, there's some really good materials. Radiant is very expensive, yeah, but it's not the most expensive. No, some of the neon colors are really expensive. I have some neon yellow, and what this is a sheet. So I have some neon yellow. Now what this costs per sheet is more than the Radiant stuff. But yeah. Likely going to do a frosted translucent black with a red PCB. That'll look nice, yeah. The only thing I would say with the frosted stuff is you need to make sure that you're aware of how it's going to look. So for example, this green's frosted on both sides. But of course, when you cut it, it's not frosted on the middle. So you are going to have a difference on the edges of that. Your stacked acrylic is going to look different to the top or bottom. If you're okay with that look, and you're okay with having shiny parts in some places that look like glass and frosted part on top, then that's cool. But just bear in mind that that's what it's going to do. Definitely go and buy some of these materials. I'm not sure where you're based, FE39, but definitely go and buy some offcuts of this material, get some sheets of it, have a couple of prototypes made. Hey, even if you just want a prototype making and then you're going to use someone else for production, more than happy to help you out. I do have a board somewhere that has that frosted and shiny edges. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second, guys. If I can't find this really quickly, I won't look for it, but I think I know where it is. Yes, okay. So all my keyboard collection is just in boxes at the minute. But I do have this one. Now, this isn't one I made, I just want to be clear. This is a Lubriganti that was made by Homroco. And as you can see on the rear, it uses nice clear cast acrylic for the bases, and then on the edges it's all shiny, like you'd expect from cast acrylic that is all shiny on the edges. There you go, you can see it glisten. But then on the top it's matte. Sorry about the dust. It's like a matte finish on the top. So kind of like when you're looking at it at times, you kind of get the shine and the matte effect at the time. If you're okay with that, that's one thing to bear in mind. But I must use like 40 different types of acrylic now, and cast acrylic is the only way I'll go. You like that modded Lubriganti? So that's actually the standard Lubriganti, but it was the whatever special edition Homroco did. I can't remember what it was called, like the wild card or something. So yeah, that was that one. It came out really nice for the price. Well, if you want me to source you some, drop into my DMs. I'm on holiday after 12 o'clock today, but if you can wait until next week, FE39, drop into my DMs, and I will on Discord. You can get to it below. I will take a look at your files, and I'll get some material. And I'll make a sample, and we'll ship it over to you, and you can just pay me the cost of it, and we'll see if it works out for you. And then you can do whatever you want for production-wise. I'm not going to make you stick with me or anything else, but you know, I'm always there to help people and to try and get the nice things made. Let's flip over because the laser's just about finished doing the etching now. There you go, you can see that's come out really nice and clean. Kip says that looks nice. Yeah, it does, it looks really nice. It's really nice. Destiny gang. I want to get back into Destiny small chungus. I've actually been talking a lot with Holtzman recently. That's who the project is with that I'm working on. I want to get back into Destiny. I'm going to download it. I'm going to re-download it, reinstall it, and start playing it again, I think. I do have a PS5 here in the workshop as well that I could use to play it every now and again. So yeah, that might happen. Viren, hey man, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I'm just making a sign at the moment. Laser etching the Prototypist Keyboards logo into it. But don't worry, we can ship to Pakistan FE39. We can ship that. I think you guys actually have a new vendor over there as well. I've been speaking to Lord of Sarcasm. He seems nice. Watch him not be in Pakistan and be in India or something, and I've just misread the country and I can't remember. But yeah, if you want any help. DHL gonna hurt? Lord is in India. I knew it was something like that. I knew it was something like that. DHL won't be too bad. DHL won't be too bad. Haven't played D2 in a long time, but still keeps a place in my heart. I love Destiny. I just don't have time for video games often. But yeah. Be interesting to see if it's got more content since Bungie left. I didn't think Bungie left. Bungie still run Destiny, right? As far as I'm aware, it's still a Bungie game. How many bags of EVO1s do you have left? No idea. No idea. I'm technically on vacation at the minute, so I'm not checking stock or packing orders until next Monday. There's a banner at the top of the site that says we're away until next Monday. Kips, you just came up on the Vesta board. Let me show you. I missed it, but there you go. You are immortalized briefly on the Vesta board, so thank you very much for the follow, man. Thank you. It does take a little while to update. I'll try and catch it. Yeah, I have some EVO1s left. I think I have some that haven't even packed up yet as well, so I might even have some spares that go into stock later on, I can't remember. But yeah, if you want them unusual, I would advise you to always buy now rather than wait, because stuff doesn't steam. Yeah, it's a flip display. Let me turn the Vesta cam back on, because the laser's almost done now as well. And let me show you guys, because I can update this as well. But every time we get a sale on the website or something else, or someone follows on Twitch or subs, it does update. The API for the Twitch stuff is a bit flaky, so it doesn't always work, and sometimes it's a bit late. Vimbory, thank you very much. But here you go, this is how the flip display updates. You just got to keep going and fighting for everything, and one day you'll get to where you want. Oh no, the A's stuck. The A in one's stuck. I'll fix that later. Naomi Osaka. So there you go. Yeah, that's the flipboard. Okay, the laser's just about finished now. So once it's done this, I'm actually going to zoom out because it's now going to start to cut. It's just going to cut around the edges. So this is doing a separate operation. It's just doing the little circles now. There we go. And now it's just going to do the cut all around the outside. Yeah, the Vesta board's a flip display. I'm a little... Oh, the A's flipped over now. Hold on. Look, the A's flipped over. I haven't touched it, but the A has flipped over. Yeah, I think it just got a bit of dust in it or stuck. But yeah, if we get a sale on the website or anything like that, that pops up. Whenever people follow or sub and everything else, that should work as well. But I need to fix the APIs for that, and I need to try and work out Twitch's documentation, because it's a little bit difficult. So yeah, that's cool. But it also gives me news reports, weather updates every day, all that kind of stuff, which is cool. Yeah, so the new laser bed is actually 4 times the size of this one when we worked it out, which is pretty cool. Because this bed, you can see there's some tape across the bottom of the bed in this bottom corner down here. I'll show you just where the chat is, just down here. Although the bed extends beyond there, the tape is where the laser won't cut. So the laser doesn't reach to that area. There was some tape across the top that you can see as well, but that was in the same position, so it wouldn't cut in those areas. Just dropping by to say hi, keep doing what you're doing, enjoy the holiday. Thanks for being such an inspiration to me and Wilson. Love your daily workshop contents. Thanks, man. I hope you enjoy the Insta stories. There won't be any for a couple of days because I'm not going to be around. But when I get back, the Insta stories are going to start up again next week with a bit more intensity, because we're going to be prepping for the new laser coming. We're going to be moving some stuff around in the workshop, and I'll probably share most of that on Insta as well. So yeah, it's going to be good fun, because we need to prep for the JL1s arriving as well and everything else that's going on. J Instagram movies. I know, right? Like Twitch actually, sorry, not Twitch. Instagram actually messaged me about this a few months ago. Something to do. It like wasn't negative. It was like congratulations, blah blah blah. You've hit so many followers and all this kind of stuff and things. And they actually gave me an average of how many minutes of Insta stories I do a day. And at that point, it was like 28 minutes of Insta stories per day. So I've really tailed it back a little bit, and I try and do less than 10. But yeah, we'll see. I just like to share what we do, guys. Like, I want Prototypist to be as open for everyone as possible and to share everything that we do with you guys. Shut up, Hamish. Thank you very much for following. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, we're going to the spa this afternoon. It's going to be nice. I'm looking forward to it. Nice long massage, nice steak dinner tonight with a couple of bottles of wine. Yeah, we're just going to chill out and take it easy. Okay, it's about a third of the way through the cut now. IP Cables, thank you so much for the follow, man. I appreciate that, my dude. Refreshing to watch a Brit who can actually say my name. Yeah, I'm British. I'm from Yorkshire. You can probably tell that from my accent, but yeah, I'm Yorkshire born and bred. Currently, the workshop where you can see me working right now is in Bradford, but I'm actually from Leeds originally. So Leeds is my hometown. Spa as in SPA, not spa as in the shops. There isn't actually a spa shop near me, actually. We don't have many of them in Bradford. I don't know of one anyway. But yeah, we're going for a spa. We're going to have mud baths, and we've got an infinity pool booked that we're going to go in, massages, all sorts of cool stuff. It's going to be a really nice and relaxing few days. And I'm hoping, in fact, so my wife, I missed my wife's wedding anniversary, mine and my wife's wedding anniversary. But we couldn't go away for it anyway because of COVID. So now we're going away for our wedding anniversary today, and this is her gift. So I'm glad it turned up before I left today. Nissa, yes, we do have lots of Nissas around here. What supermarket do you do your grocery shopping at? We do a lot of HelloFresh, and then when we're not doing HelloFresh, it's usually Ocado, and we have it delivered. And if we have to go and pick anything up, we pick it up from Marks and Spencer's. I've got a little hornet in here. Go away. There's a little tiny little baby hornet just flying around everywhere. Yeah, so Ocado, HelloFresh, and Marks and Spencer's is where most of our stuff comes from. We do other things like specialist coffees I get from Dog and Hat, which what I'm drinking right now, which are a really good coffee company. Yeah, that's about it. I can't remember the last time we went in a Nissa either, but we do have Nissas here. We only have Iceland and Aldi near us. I don't think I've ever been in an Iceland. I don't know where there is one. There is an Aldi near here. I've never been in though. Yeah, I've never been in it. Don't forget, you guys, as well, if you want to tweet me, you can tweet it and it'll come up on the Vesta board. If you tweet me at jprototypist, it'll come up on the Vesta board. Oh yeah, we do get some stuff from a local farm shop as well. There's a farm shop called Keelam Farm. It's owned by Robert Shaw's. That's not too far away from here. We do get a few things from there if we need fresh food and stuff like that. Like potatoes and cucumber, all the kind of fresh stuff we tend to get from there. But it's a bit of a driveway. It's like 20 minutes away. So usually the wife won't go on her own. I have to drive her up there, which is fine. I don't mind. It was actually on the way back from that Keelam farm when I decided I was going to marry my wife, which is an interesting story. We were in one of my classic cars, my Datsun 240Z, and we were driving back from there, and it was a lovely sunny day like it is today. And it was just perfect. The dog was asleep on the parcel shelf, the wife was sat next to me, the sun was shining, and it was right there in that moment that I knew I was going to ask her to marry me. So there we go. MMWMC, hey man, good morning. Have you got a favorite food, comfort food? Favorite food is probably cuisine more than anything else, which is Indian. I love Indian food. Indian food, Pakistani food, anything from that kind of area. Love it, absolutely adore it. If I had to pick one thing though, it would probably be a homemade lasagna, because you can't beat it. Gotta love a bit of lasagna. That's cute as. Yeah, I was just in the car and the dog was asleep on the parcel shelf behind me. The wife was sat next to me and it was like, oh, this is perfect. This is how I want life to be. Yeah, like British food's okay. I like fish and chips and I like steak pie, but Asian food is really good. Asian cuisine is really good. Okay, so we're just going to get up on the last bit of the laser cutting now. So I'm just going to zoom in for you guys and we'll see if we can show you guys that last bit of it laser cutting. Just tweak the camera. And there we go. Let's flip back over the cameras and I'll show you guys what we have. I need to take off the rear plastic, then I'll show you guys what we have. And there you go, guys. We have this awesome green glass sign. I'm going to have to stand back a bit to show you guys it, with the Prototypist logo etched into it. The edges come out looking like glass. Focus, camera. Focus, please. There you go. The edges come out looking like glass. How cool is that? And that's going to sit on a wall, so it'll have a bit of dark background behind it, like it's on my apron here. I'll just show you the text up close. It's a bit of dust on there, which I just need to wipe down and give it a clean. But that is all just dust. Just needs a little wipe down and clean. There we go. Nice little screw holes. I do need to pop these out actually, look. So these I've got, there you go, popped out. Nice little round screw holes there. Just pop these out nice and simply. And then when I get back next week, I can start to tackle the LED implementation for this. So now I've got the sign, I can show you how this is going to work actually. So what's going to happen is the LEDs are going to sit on this bottom edge here. They're going to shine upwards through it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have a little black bit that comes basically and extends down and curves around. It's going to be about 2 centimeters deep. And 1 centimeter underneath here, that's where the LEDs are going to sit. So the sign's actually going to look like it's extended. And the black will actually come straight off this vertical edge and it will mirror this curve, so you'll never see that. But it will all tie up to these particular holes as well. It's going to be really cool. So there we go, guys. That's how we make a sign in the morning before we go on holiday. Toad in the Hole is straight nostalgia. I love Toad in the Hole. Love Toad in the Hole. Where is the satisfying peel? Did you not see me peel it off? That's stunning. Lovely. Looks amazing. Thanks, guys. Thank you. What's the density like compared to glass? It's lighter than glass, but it's more robust and it's stronger than glass. I can do glass on this actually. I can do glass on this machine, which is really cool. But it's dangerous and I want to protect my eyes, right? I always worry about heating glass up too much and having it crack and shatter, because that can happen on laser cutters. But theoretically, I can etch and cut the glass on here, yeah. Amazing outcome though, thank you. Standard acrylic sign diffusion, yeah. Channel of LEDs at the bottom, hidden inside some black acrylic. So I have the black acrylic here. This is opaque black acrylic. and the LEDs will be hidden in there. I was going to use Philips Hue LEDs for this, but I've actually decided not to do that because this is just going to be plugged in and turned on all the time. I don't need to be able to remote control it. And I actually have some from IKEA of all places. So I'll show you guys what we're going to work with on that. So I haven't used these much yet. In fact, I haven't used them all, but I've got a few different types. Like I got some LED bars that I can strip the LEDs out of. These are designed for wardrobes, but I can strip the LED strip out of these and get rid of the housings and test that out. The other one that they do is an actual LED strip, which is the reason why we made this the width we did, because it's exactly 3 of those wide. So there we go. Yeah, you could do it with WS2812s, but I don't want to do that. I was looking at using Philips Hue and some other out-of-the-box solutions because it'd be nice to remote control it and things, but then I just figured that this is going to be easier. It's going to be dead simple to put into place, and it's actually the width and thicknesses that I need already because these strips are 5mm thick. So these happen to be pretty much perfect for what I need. We have huge 2x4 tempered glass sheets on tableware that we cut down printed banners. We usually rotate them every so often, and one shattered and glass went flying meters, hit the roof of it. Oh, it does. When they go, they just they explode because the glass has got so much tension built up in it that when you release that tension, it just explodes. There you go, guys. The vestibule's updating now. IP cables is now following. Thanks for the support. There you go, IP cables. You're immortalized on the vestiboard very briefly. Yeah, glass just, it doesn't half go. It's really bad. Yeah, it's just all this tension's built into glass just because of the way it's structured that it's got so much kinetic energy stored inside it. It's waiting to explode. Yeah, like you can look at Prince Rupert drops on. Rupert drops are really interesting actually. So one of the things that you can make from glass, if you drop molten glass in water really quickly and cool it down, you get like it looks a bit like a sperm, but it's like a bulbous head and then a really long tail depending on where it went. If you imagine cheese stringing off a pizza, it's kind of a bit like that. But these Rupert drops, the head of them, the glass, you can hit them with a hammer and they won't break. You cannot break them. You cannot release that tension. You can hit them as hard as you want, and you can put them under 20-ton presses and they won't go. But that thin tail, you just snap it a tiny bit at the tip, the whole thing will just shatter. Rupert drops are amazing. They're actually really fun to make as well if you make tiny little ones and you can play around with them. But if you're going to do that, please be safe. Maybe I'll do a stream on that actually. Maybe we'll make Rupert drops on a stream at some point because I love to make those, but they do scare me a little bit. They do scare me. Literally just turns to, when glass goes, it does turn to just tiny bits. Yeah, it's crazy. Glass and ceramics, 2-edged swords like that. Yeah, well, I actually like ceramic for blades. So all of my box cutters, I use ceramic blades in these. This one's a bit dull and a bit blunt now, but I use ceramic blades because they just cut for so much longer and so much better. But you drop that and it just cracks and shatters. So they are weaker in that respect, but they're so sharp, so sharp. So yeah, there we go. Okay, well that's the stream kind of done, guys. I'm really, really happy with how the sign came out. When this gets fitted next week, you'll see it on the Insta stories. Oh, there you go. That's how it's going to look with the LEDs shining through it. That's pretty much what the light's going to do to the sign. Like you can see there where it's lit up compared to there where it's just dull. That's what the LEDs are going to do. I must have the light coming through the ceiling at just the right angle there. But that's how the sign's going to look. So there you go. You would have gone with Meteor, harder but not tougher. I'm not sure what you mean there. Oh, ceramics are harder but not tougher. Yes, yeah, ceramics are hard. So the ceramics stay sharper for longer, which I've noticed, and they're really, really good at keeping an edge. But you bend them the wrong way, and they're really brittle, and they don't give like steel blades would do. Yeah. But there we go. Okay, well that's the stream, guys. I wanted to just share with you making that sign. I'm now going to pack up and go on. Oh, Meteor. Oh, right, I got you. It was just the first thing that came to my head. Got you, Hamish. I understand now. I'm going to end the stream there. I'm going to go on holiday now. I'm going to pack up, take a few things with me, and get off on holiday. And I'll be back next week. So we are going to be streaming on Sunday night. I'm going to be streaming a keyboard build on Sunday. I think we're going to do the tape mod test. So tape mod's been going around a bit. I thought I'd buy a lot of tapes of different types, and we'd get a couple of identical keyboards and we test out, really, once and for all, does tape mod make a difference? So I have like 11 different types of tape. I'm going to take that. That's what we're going to do. Right then, guys, thank you so much for watching this morning. I shall see you all again soon. Have a really, really good weekend. And if you need any support emails, drop me a message, but I'm not going to reply until next week. But take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon, guys. Bye-bye.